What's up, everybody? Coach Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video. And in this video, we're going to talk about a lot of huge changes, updates, and the night market. There's a ton of things that we need to break down and talk about. If you want a new gaming computer, listen up. We're happy to introduce today's video sponsor, COOLMYRIG. Now, they're giving away one of their gaming PCs worth a few $1,000s, and you were the first to learn about it. Now, they're not widely known, so your odds of winning are actually quite high. Now, it's an amazing machine. 12th gen Intel i7 processor, 32 gigs of RAM, NVIDIA 3070 Ti GPU, and a custom-built water cooling loop. It's literally everything you need to play Valorant at 1000 FPS. Every dollar spent on their website gives you one entry point to the giveaway. The more you spend, the more likely you'll win this amazing gaming PC. They got merch, keychains, water cooling parts, as well as digital products for your phone and desktop. Remember, the more you spend, the higher chance to win. Don't forget to follow their Instagram page for more info, linked down below. Now, the night market is set to go live today, and if you want to get your Prime or Reaver Vandal, you gotta smash that like and subscribe, or else you're going to get... who am I kidding? You're not gonna get fuck all anyway. It's the night market. It never gives you what you actually want. I don't think I've ever gotten a single thing that I've actually wanted from the night market. Definitely frustrating. I feel like they only throw in the guns that people statistically don't buy that much. I have no proof to this, by the way, but I imagine that they would just rather put the guns that people have a high percentage to buy just in circulation more, because why would you give people a discount on a gun they're gonna buy anyway? I don't know how it works, but I do know that based on my extremely personal anecdotal evidence, I've never got anything I've wanted. But let me know your personal experience in the comments down below, and what gun or knife do you really want to see in the night market? Now, moving on, Riot actually showcased a little bit of what Phoenix was like before he became the Phoenix that we know and love now, and he had completely different abilities, like actually insane abilities when he was first designed. His ultimate basically put him in a state of invulnerability where if you would receive lethal damage, you basically would go into a state where you could move around and you would slowly revive over the course of 3 seconds as you try to move back behind cover, and then you're back alive and you could fight. So instead of doing it like it does now, where you basically initiated in one place and you have a second life, you could activate this prematurely, people could kill you, and then you would have the unique opportunity to run away and then fight again. Very, very crazy, and I think that the potential there is a little too strong, if I'm being honest, in a lot of situations. But of course, there's some amount of counterplay to that as well, but still, seems really freaking busted. And also, before they gave him a flash, they actually gave him a charge dash, where you would literally charge up and then go in a straight line. The longer you charge it, the further you would go. And of course, you could like die in this animation, right? You could die, but you could also fly like way into sight. And this would make Phoenix like the ultimate freaking engager. But the problem is, when they tested this, they found that Phoenix could only play in one way, and that was charging right in full speed, and that was all he could do. Like, he was mad aggressive. He was rushing always, and that just seemed like not the direction they would want to have with the character. I mean, imagine a Phoenix just flying back a sight like full speed, and then he pops that ultimate. So he kills some person, dies, then he gets to go around cover and resurrects, then gets to repeat. Like, think about the potential there. It just seems fucking crazy. But definitely interesting as a design for the character, but they wanted to go this route to give him more nuance with his ability. Flashes give you more opportunity to do, you know, different types of things, whether you want to flash and take some space, or flash and run away, or try to take space for your team, or there's just a lot of different ways you can use it, rather than what he had before, which was like, I'm gonna freaking run at them. I'm gonna juggernaut these motherfuckers, or whatever. I don't know. Now, according to a new mobile leak, the Valorant mobile beta is actually almost here, and it's just replacing the regular game. You heard me right. They're taking down Valorant. That's a complete lie. They're not doing any of that. But if you want to play this for whatever reason, I mean, you got phones, right? You can. It's coming soon, and there's probably going to be new beta tests coming very soon. So for those of you who can't aim at all, instead of learning how to aim, why don't you just go pop on over to Valorant Mobile? Okay, all joking aside, I know that some people are going to like have fun with this, and I think getting Valorant in more people's hands and using these type of things as like a gateway drug to the actual Valorant game, right? I know people don't like the idea of console Valorant and don't like the idea of mobile Valorant, but these could be gateway drugs to the full-on cocaine that is real Valorant. Okay, dude, there's no way this video doesn't get demonetized, but regardless, I think it's a good thing. It grows the brand of Valorant, and all in all, if you don't got a phone, just say that. Okay, sorry. Anyways, moving on to the next story, we gotta talk about some of the crazy freaking signings that have been happening in the esports scene. So we talked about how El Diablo Ye was gonna get handed the biggest paycheck of all time, and now we know that he is actually going to be the linchpin of a super team that is forming by Cloud9. Optic is officially signed with them. We don't know what the rest of the team will hold, but we know that they are a quote-unquote super team, and they had to pay big money for El Diablo. Not only did they have to buy him out of his contract, but they had to offer him a really fat stack, considering a lot of the teams like APAC, for instance, offered Ye an $1 million deal, and he declined it. However, some of that might have to do with the fact that he didn't really want to leave NA, but I would also imagine that it is likely that Cloud9 has at least one other member of the Optic squad. I do know that Ye really loves his old teammates. Why wouldn't he? Their team was one of the best in the entire world, so he would definitely want to be working with them still. So I would imagine that would weigh more to him than, you know, just getting a fat check right off the bat. Obviously, he wasn't purely money driven. And there were even offers in the tier 2 scene where allegedly some companies in the tier 2 scene were offering the entire Optic squad fat checks to stay together and actually win their way into franchising through tier 2. A lot of speculation is that that was TSM, but we have no idea who it actually was. But imagine that idea, like one of the best teams in the world, not actually in the main league, but just stomping tier 2, like smurfing their way into professional. That would be freaking crazy. It would be really hard to deny a shot into franchising though, if you are the Optic squad. There's no doubt that every single one of them will get picked up in some capacity. So it's more than likely that the majority of them get split up and put into separate teams. Now, another thing that actually happened is 100 Thieves has officially gotten Cryo. That's insane. And remember, Cryo was slated to stay with his entire team and go on to G2, but you know, because of the top G, none of that worked out. But yeah, that unfortunate, but yeah, the entire XSET squad can't stay together, obviously, and Cryo is actually one of the most valuable players on that team that was definitely scouted. I have no doubts that the majority, if not all, of XSET will make it on the teams, but the fact that Cryo gets brought to 100 Thieves is very interesting because it seems like their roster was good and their roster did well and their roster made it into champs. And a lot of people are saying that, you know, someone will get cut, and I don't know exactly what will happen, whether they'll put someone on the main roster to a 6th man or if the entire roster is getting moved around. I know it's hard when you have a really good roster. You're like, hey, I want to keep this, but then there's all these free agents that are just floating around like Cryo and Ye. You can't just not consider these players because they're just so damn good, and you'll never get an opportunity like this as an org to pick up these players again, most likely. I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult later on, especially if they're put on a roster and that roster starts winning. There's no way that that roster would sell you these players anymore. They're going to hold on to these players. So now's the time to pick these players up, and that's why Cryo is picked up. And I can not imagine how cool it's going to be to see Derek and Cryo playing together. That's going to be so damn cool. And yeah, I'm really excited, although I'm a little bit scared about some of the changes that might be made. Let me know what you think about this down below. Now, the last thing that we need to talk about is the fact that Sky, KO, Yor, and Reyna, we talked about all those changes and how the initiators are getting a much more defined role, as in initiators are primarily meant to help the team and gather info for the team or set up the team. And then duelist flashes are more about individual plays and taking space for themselves or playmaking ability. So they're definitely different. One's more selfish and one's more team oriented. And I would imagine that in the future, we see more clearly defined roles across every single type of characters in the game. And of course, Riot has also teased the fact that they would be willing to add another entirely different role at some point in the future. But I want you to not forget what they have already said about some of the other changes that are coming soon. Fade is definitely getting a nerf. Chamber is definitely getting a nerf. And I know not every one of you agree, but they have already talked about how these things are slated in. So unless for some reason they change their mind last minute, both Fade and Chamber will be receiving a nerf, and Cypher will most likely be receiving a buff. While he isn't slated in the same way that Fade and Chamber changes are, or Sky, KO, Yoru, and Reyna changes are, he is a character that they have said repeatedly that they have their eye on. So these are all the changes that are probably slated in. I'll definitely keep you tuned in to any of the new developments as far as confirmation of what these changes are. But for now, there's a lot of things to look forward to in Valorant. COOLMYRIG are giving away one of their gaming PCs worth a few $1,000s. Don't forget to follow their Instagram page for more info, linked down below.